10 years ago, my life changed forever. It was 10 years ago, this upcoming Wednesday to the day. It was 10 years ago that I sat in my room and I was in tears. I was in tears because for the first time, I had given myself an honest assessment of my life, and I was ashamed. You see, at the time, I lived in a small town in Georgia in a farmhouse built in the 40s for farmhands. There was no central AC, there was no heat. We had to huddle in one room during the summer and the winter because there was a fireplace in the window unit. It wasn't even sealed. We had snakes and rats that would come into our house on a regular basis. It wasn't level. I had an aquarium where the water came up to the lip on one side and was down a few inches on the other. I drove a beat-up pickup truck. Once again, no heat, no AC. I had no functioning gauges. So every day on my 45-minute commute into South Carolina, I had to guess whether or not I had enough gas to get to work. Sometimes I was right, sometimes I wasn't. Sometimes I did the speed limit, and sometimes the South Carolina State Troopers would remind me that I wasn't. But why this mattered on this one specific day was because on this day, 10 years ago, my daughter was born, and this was the life that she was going to have to live, and I was disgusted with myself. So on that day, I started a journey that continues to this day to provide a better life for not only for my daughter, but for my wife and also for myself. And during this journey, I've learned that there's 4 things that you have to do, 4 steps that you need to take in order to achieve the success that you want. And the first thing you have to do is to define and refine what success means for you. So when I defined success, I said I wanted a better life for my family, but I had to refine that. What does that mean? I wanted a car that my family didn't have to be embarrassed to be seen in, that had heat and AC. I wanted a house I didn't have to worry about snakes and rats inside. I wanted a better job where I could spend more time with my family and work, and not have to work on the nights, the weekends, and the holidays. But once you've defined and refined what your success means to you, you have to then, the second step, is identify your action steps on what exactly that you have to do in order to achieve that. So for me, I wanted a better house. I wanted to get a nicer apartment. I needed a better credit score. I needed a down payment. I needed to budget the monthly payments into that. For that job that I wanted, I needed a college degree. I needed actually a master's degree, which meant I needed a bachelor's degree, which meant I needed an associate's degree. And the third step, it took me 4 years to actually learn what this third step was. And it's the step that we will spend the most of our time in. And it's very iterative in nature. And that is, you have to design a plan and execute. The reason why it is iterative is because things change in life. And we do spend so much time in it. So for instance, I needed a better credit score. So what I needed to do was to pay off some debt, open up some credit cards and not use them. I needed this job, which I needed a degree for, so I enrolled in the local community college. But it's iterative in nature because 4 years after I started on this journey, I decided to go to school full time. But 6 months later, my wife was laid off. And so I had to reassess my plan and my execution. My definition of success remained the same. My action steps, the things that I needed to do, remained the same. What changed was my plan and my execution. And the fourth thing that you have to do, and in my opinion is the most important thing, you can sit there and tell your friends and your family, your loved ones and your coworkers, you can tell all these people of this grand plan, you've defined your success and you've done all this and you know what you need to do. But you have to physically look yourself in the mirror and you have to say, I promise you. Because even though that I say that I'm doing this for my family, I defined it as what success meant to me. And I had to promise myself that when things get tough, I was going to stick to this and complete this. So 2009, my daughter was born. Like I said, it took me 4 years to really wrap my head around this. But in 2013, I stepped down from my leadership role in my previous industry, and I started going to school full time. In 2014, I got my associate's degree. In 2015, I finally left my previous career, started my new career in banking, nights, weekends, holidays off. In 2016, I earned my bachelor's degree and bought my very first brand new car. In 2017, I started in the MBA program here. In 2018, I purchased my first home. And in in 2020, I plan to graduate with my MBA. And I encourage you, it all can happen. You just have to define what success means to you and refine it. Identify the action steps. What do you need to do to achieve that? Come up with a plan and execute it. Iterative. Revise it. And most importantly, look yourself in the mirror and say, this I promise that I'm going to do for you, because you are the one that has defined that this is important to you. Thank you.